communications for Mayor Bass. Beginning last week in the run-up to her second anniversary in office, which is going to be on Thursday, Mayor Bass is crisscrossing the city to highlight how her administration has made change and delivered results to better deliver city services, build a greener LA, bring more unhoused Angelenos inside, and keep Angelenos safe. Today's announcement will include that over the past 2 years, homicides in Los Angeles have dropped more than 25%. LAFD has expanded health and safety response capability with improvements to equipment and new contracts to help address retention. And community-based solutions have engaged tens of thousands of Angelenos throughout the city with proven solutions that bring crime down. Today we're going to start with Mr. Tim Watkins, President and CEO of the Watts Labor Community Action Committee. Thank you so much for having us today. Following that, we'll hear from Mayor Bass. After that, we'll hear from Councilman Tim McCosker, representing the 1-5. Thank you as well for having us today. Following that, we'll hear from new LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell. After that, we'll hear from LAFD Chief Kristen Crowley, followed by Danny Jobert, President of the Watts Gang Task Force, as well as Myrna Romero, Director of Operations and Chief Financial Officer at Soledad Enrichment Action, and we'll take questions following that. And with that, I'll give it over to Mr. Watkins. Thank you again for having us.
Thank you. All right, Tim. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the WLCAC campus here in Watts. It's a wonderful morning. 41 degrees is a little chilly, but as you can see, we all got up and got ourselves together and got here like we do every morning. And I just want to, I won't go on. I just want to give words of encouragement to the mayor and to the new police chief that here at WLCAC and in conjunction with the rest of the people in Watts, Donnie Jubert and the Watts Gang Task Force, Sisters of Watts, all the other organizations that are trying desperately every day to improve the quality of life in this community, nothing is more powerful than authenticity. We have people that come into our front doors and want to know where their house is because they're homeless and they expect to be served right then and there. Our people are trained to deal with them in a humane, respectful way, and that has earned us accolades across the city. What I think is that if the police chief actually hears the constituents, I mean, not just listens, but actually hears them, then we have a much better chance of organizing peace around the notion of service. If we can meet people where their needs are, then perhaps we can turn around this terrible tendency in this country to follow the madness that's going on the East Coast right now with incoming administration. So thank you for coming out here to WLCAC. I want to turn it over to Mayor Bass. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Tim. Thank you for your leadership in the community, really your whole life. Appreciate the invitation to be here today as well. And of course, I want to thank the great councilman for this district, Tim McCosker, for all of the work that he does and his commitment to his constituents. So I do want to start with the Franklin fire, which began in the middle of the night last night and was quickly responded to by county firefighters in the region working through the night to protect residents in the Malibu area. And of course, the city family, LA City Fire Department, was there at the scene in the form of mutual aid to provide support to the county firefighters. Safety is a 24/7 job, and I want to thank everyone involved in battling the blaze and continuing to work to keep the fire from spreading. Safety is comprehensive, which is why behind me you see the police department, the fire department, community intervention workers, and you see members of a number of community organizations. I believe that it is most important, first and foremost, to prevent crime from taking place in the beginning, but then to intervene and to suppress it when it does occur. So together, we're here to announce that over the past 2 years, homicides in Los Angeles have dropped more than 25%, and gang-related homicides have dropped more than 50%. And I want to acknowledge and lift up that this is thanks to efforts by the LAPD, but by the Gang Reduction and Youth Development Program and all of the community groups that are standing here behind me today, who work tirelessly and are often unknown or unacknowledged, and we want to acknowledge all of them today. We're also here to announce that our fire department, under the leadership of our terrific chief, Kristen Crowley, has expanded health and safety response capacity this year to continue the exemplary service to Angelenos throughout the city. But there is, of course, more to be done. And what we've shown this year is that when a crime is committed here in the city or an emergency hits, we don't wait. We take action. Following high-profile incidents of smash and grab robberies here in LA, but also throughout the country, we launched a retail crime task force, which has since made hundreds of arrests and recovered more than $60 million in stolen merchandise. When there was a spike in crime on Metro, I worked with other leaders on the board and called for a surge of law enforcement presence on the system. Metro data shows a reduction in violent crime during the surge. But in addition to calling for a surge of officers, we also called for the increased numbers of ambassadors who work within Metro to look for problems and prevent them from taking place. We also responded in Encino, where we surged specialized LAPD officers following a string of break-ins to the area, resulting in increased patrols aimed at ensuring the safety and security of the community. In addition to responding, as I mentioned, we are moving to prevent crime, which is why last year we launched the new Office of Community Safety to focus on that and to interrupt the cycle of violence. We have worked to strengthen the city's gang reduction and youth development program through increased training for community violence intervention workers, and we also worked to strengthen one of the city's violence reduction programs, Summer Night Lights, which brought more than 80,000 Angelenos and helped transform our public parks into safe spaces for youth and families. Meanwhile, our firefighters are responding both locally and throughout the country, maximizing their effectiveness and efficiency to get the job done. In the face of historic rains earlier in the year, our firefighters were out in the streets rescuing Angelenos from trapped cars or flowing rivers. This year, the department was able to add fast respond vehicles to free up larger trucks and engines to respond to larger fires. Our firefighters were also deployed nationwide to confront emergencies, including Hurricane Helene. Both departments, along with community-based approaches, are working every day to keep Angelenos safe, and that's why we are working every day to support their efforts. Earlier this year, we worked with the City Council to secure competitive wage increases for our firefighters, which will help with retention and allow the fire department to maintain a high level of emergency service to Angelenos. We're already seeing results of this fair compensation for LAPD because 2024 marked a 4-year high of applications submitted to come and be a police officer. Now, I want to be very, very clear. There is still much more work to be done to make LA safer, and I know that under the leadership of our new Chief of Police, Jim McDonnell, Chief Crowley, and everyone standing behind me, we will continue this important work, and I want to thank you all for what you do. And with that, I would like to introduce Councilmember Tim McCusker.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and thank you, Tim Watkins, for having us here at WLCAC. Every important event seems to happen here at WLCAC, and I appreciate so much the Mayor's words, and I want to congratulate her and thank her because as we both came into office at the same time, I was very appreciative of that you stood up the group of community safety. I had heard on the campaign trail, I had heard in this community, I had heard in every one of my communities that it's so important to make sure that the community is part of its own public safety. A good friend of mine says there is no reason to take the public out of public safety. You know, it only makes sense. And so when the mayor came in, it was very, very important that we support our efforts to have police officers, to be able to hire police officers. Very, very important. I was proud to stand with the mayor as we changed the way that we compensated, especially newer officers and younger officers, to keep those women and men on the force. But at the same time, it was so critically important that we lean in and say that those peace ambassadors, those folks in our communities who ensure peace, who know best how to ensure peace, were adequately compensated, and that we made sure that just as we're adequately compensating them, that we also increased those forces, those numbers of folks. And right here in Watts, when we had a surge, sadly, we had a surge really early on in my time in council in violence. And I was gratified that the mayor and I had a response where we said, let's have more peace ambassadors. Let's have more members of the public who are trained and skilled and well compensated lean in and ensure that working together with community that we can bring more peace. In fact, in this very room, I've been to a couple of graduations of those very same folks. That really underscores how important WLCAC is in this community, because I've been to community meetings where we talked to LAPD, where the police commission came and asked, what do you want to see in your department? What do you want to see in the next chief? And I've also been in this room to see graduations of peace ambassadors. A lot of work, an entire continuum of work goes into ensuring peace and safety in our communities. And it goes everywhere. As Tim Watkins said, when someone walks in the door, they may need a place to stay. They may need housing. And with respect, this place makes sure that they put them on a path for housing or puts them on a path for a job. We've also had a recent experience in this community that I think affects public safety, and that's the lead in the water. And it does. It does affect public safety. You can't have a safe community if you don't have a healthy community. You can't have a healthy community if your community is unsafe. And so I appreciate Tim Watkins and the mayor for, again, leaning in on the lead issue. And I'm not going off on a tangent because it is all related. There is a continuum here. You need to have housing. You need to have health care. You need to have mental health care. You need to have all of the services that go in to having a healthy and safe community. And that includes making sure that we have peace ambassadors and making sure that we have police officers. So I really commend the mayor and this community for saying we need an entire continuum of care for one another. So I'm really, really, really honored to be the councilman of the 1-5, and I'm really, really honored to be here at WLCAC and with the Watts Gang Task Force and with all of these great community members and with our mayor and with our leaders of police and fire, because, again, it is all one set. It's not one group. We don't just turn to one group and say, police, give us safety. We don't just turn to the fire department and say, give us safety. We are all in this together. And I think we have a mayor that really appreciates that. So thank you very much, Mayor. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to one of those great actors, our new LAPD chief, Jim McDonnell.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Thank you very, very much, and good morning, and thank you all for joining us here today. I want to begin by acknowledging the incredible dedication of our officers who continuously rise to meet the challenges of our profession, even in time and face of limited resources. Over the past 30 days, I've had the privilege of seeing their hard work firsthand, and I remain continually impressed by their commitment to the communities they serve and the partnerships we have with members of our communities. Their efforts are reflected in the progress we've made in keeping Los Angeles safe. Today, together with Mayor Bass, we remain steadfast in our mission to enhance public safety and strengthen the trust our communities have in their police force. I'm pleased to share that we've made significant strides in reducing crime citywide. As of December 7th, Los Angeles has recorded 266 homicides this year. That's a 15.6% decrease compared to last year, and an even more impressive 28.1% decrease compared to 2022. This downward trend, which began in March of 24, continues to reflect the life-saving efforts of our department working closely with our communities. Gun violence, a key focus of our crime reduction strategies, has also seen marked declines. The number of victims shot is down 18.9% compared to 2023 and 26.2% compared to 2022. Over the past 4 weeks alone, victims shot have decreased by over 20%. These numbers represent lives saved, families preserved, and communities given the opportunity to be able to heal and thrive. In South Bureau, where we are today, the story is no different. Year to date, we've seen a 2% reduction in homicides, and violent crime overall is down over 5%. Within just the past 28 days, violent crime has dropped by 3.5%, and the number of shooting victims has decreased by a remarkable 31%. These successes in South Bureau are no accident and the direct result of collaboration. Operation South Bureau continues its strong communication, coordination, and proactive engagement with community partners to address public safety and quality of life concerns. Intervention workers and community ambassadors have been instrumental in our crime reduction efforts, particularly within our grid zones, where we continue to see decreases in both homicides and the number of victims shot. The Watts Gang Task Force also continues to play a pivotal role in bridging the gap between law enforcement and our communities. Their strong partnerships and advocacy for community safety have been invaluable in our shared mission to create safer neighborhoods and offer alternatives to violence. But even as we celebrate these successes, we know that our work is far from over. Recruitment remains one of our top priorities. A strong police department requires strong numbers, and I'm encouraged by the positive trends we've seen this year. Applications to join the LAPD are up 31%, with nearly 12,000 applications submitted so far. This is an increase from last year's total of about 10,000 applications. This success is driven by the work of our recruitment teams and, perhaps more importantly, by the pride our officers take in representing the LAPD. They are truly our best recruiters, and their belief in our mission inspires others to serve. Looking ahead, we're committed to improving every step of the hiring process, streamlining it, providing additional supports to candidates, and ensuring our department reflects the diversity and talent of Los Angeles. In closing, I want to thank Mayor Bass for her leadership and the City Council for their support, and most importantly, our officers and civilian staff for their dedication. Together, we're all making Los Angeles safer, and I thank you all for your partnership in that endeavor. It's now my honor to introduce my friend and partner, Los Angeles City Fire Chief Kristen Crowley.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. And I tell you, it feels so good to be back in Watts. A number of years ago, I was a captain at our local fire station at Fire Station 65. And I tell you, a little shout out, I got to do it, for Fire Station 65, Fire Station 64. They love this community. And I tell you, they go above and beyond to make sure that we're providing that exceptional public safety and emergency services to this local community. And when I say they love this community, they love Watts. So I just got to give them a quick shout out because they do an amazing job. With that, I'll just give a very brief update on the Franklin fire. With Mayor Bass, she touched on a couple things. That fire is in LA County in the Malibu area. It's about 1,800 acres at this point. Your LAFD always leans forward on any type of a weather event, and the weather event is here, and it's supposed to be here through Wednesday or so. What the LAFD does is we pre-deploy resources in certain areas of the city so that if we need to launch, we launch very quickly and aggressively. We did that yesterday, and we're going to continue to do that throughout the next few days. We got the call from LA County Fire Department, I should say, in Malibu, and the immediacy happened. We have 16 LAFD firefighters there actively fighting fire, and we're going to continue to partner with our region and LA County Fire. And let me be sure that I mark my words is within the city, we are ready. We are ready to respond if anything does happen. But we are good partners as our other regional fire departments, and we're ready to roll if necessary. So that's just my brief on the Franklin fire. With that, also, as you can see, I'm awfully inspired with everybody that's behind me that's standing shoulder to shoulder. This is what community looks like. I mentioned our local fire stations. That's Fire Station 64 and 65, along with our other 104 fire stations. But this is what community is. And I tell you, we are so proud to stand with you. Mayor Bass, Chief McDonald, we got Council Member Tim McOsker from the 1-5, and the community members from the Soledad Enrichment and Watts Gang Task Force. And I tell you, we're standing shoulder to shoulder purposefully because this just reaffirms our commitment to what we're supposed to be doing within our communities, protecting our businesses and our visitors within the city of Los Angeles. And I tell you, I think we can all stand proud. We're making significant strides together, and just to make sure that we continue to push that public safety will remain our priority within our great city of Los Angeles. I just want to focus briefly on the next 2 years, or I should say the past 2 years, and then we could talk about the next 2 years. But your LAFD has been working extremely hard. We are one of the busiest fire departments in the entire nation when it comes to fire and emergency medical services. And I tell you, we continue to run approximately 1,500 calls for service each and every day in a 24-hour period. We continue to provide exceptional emergency services and transport 650 patients to the local hospitals and the local emergency rooms. And we have prioritized and optimized our emergency resource deployment. And that's something to be proud of, because we know we have limited resources. We need to be really smart and efficient with how we use the resources that we've got, and we are leveraging technology. One thing that we have done under the leadership of Mayor Bass and city leadership has been really smart in regard to how we're going to leverage technology and utilize our resources that we have. We're continue to watch our response times, and as you know, when it comes to emergency, I should say EMS and fires, every second counts, and we're continue to focus on that. We are actively collaborating with Mayor Bass to expand our programs. We've touched on this. This is our fast response vehicles and advanced provider units. This past year, we have received funding for additional 2 advanced practitioner units, which helps assess a patient in the field and redirects them to appropriate levels, and maybe they don't have to go to the local emergency room. We're going to continue to push to expand that program. That makes a lot of sense. That'll free up our engines and trucks to do all the other fire-related types of calls, I should say, and that's something to be proud of. We also have now equipped with a Lucas device. That's an automatic chest compression where it frees up our firefighters to do other things during an emergency. That is something that we should be very proud of. That's advanced technology, and that actually will increase the likelihood of survivability for our patients. This allows our medics to focus on other life-saving measures and will help your LAFD be more efficient. Additionally, we have significantly increased our training both on fire and EMS resources and incidences that will make sure that we're better equipped to handle those complex types of incidents that come our way. Rigorous preparation, and I tell you, that's our focus. We're strengthening our ability to respond to emergencies, safeguard lives, and protect property. I am also very, very proud to stand with you and to announce that we have successfully hired, this is just over 2 years, mind you, 471 new firefighters and recruits. That's about 14% of our LAFD. That's a huge thing to be proud of, I should say, because it bolsters our ranks with these new and next generation LAFD firefighters and paramedics. Super proud of that. Thank you. Now, these men and women represent the future of our department, that next generation of your LAFD, and their passion and skills will provide that opportunity for your LAFD to continue to push to provide exceptional public safety to the city of Los Angeles, and focusing here within Watts as well. So with that, these accomplishments are an absolute testament to the collaboration and shared vision between Mayor Bass, the City Council, and the Los Angeles City Fire Department, and our partner, strong partner with LAPD. While this significant progress has been made, we still have a long way to go, and that's exactly what Mayor Bass had already said. The LAFD, your LAFD, I should say, remains truly committed to working with the mayor and city leadership. And I tell you, we have a lot to be proud of, but we also have a lot of work to do. So thank you for your continued trust and support in your fire department. And I tell you, rest assured that we will remain steadfast in our mission to save lives and protect property in every single corner, every single inch of this beautiful city that we have just the extreme privilege to serve each and every day. So stay safe, and thank you so much, everybody, for your support.
Good morning. I'm Donnie from the Watts Gang Task Force president. I am honored to be standing here 50-plus years growing up in this community and to be standing against the mayor, next to the mayor and Tim McCosker. You talking about two people with boots on the ground. Before Mayor Bass came in, we had a Zoom call with her before she got elected. And we talked for almost 45 minutes. And one of the things she assured us if she get elected, that she's not going to talk around us, she's going to talk to us. And she have proven that from day one. Once she got in, and I also told her on the phone when she said, well, if I said, no, ain't no if. You're going to win this election. And she automatically had boots on the ground. She came right and sat with the Watts Gang Task Force in the community, and she looked at us and said, what do you need? And we told her we are struggling with the young guys with jobs and the ambassadors, the safe passage workers, and her team made it happen. We have over 35 employees right now through the program that she extended. Let me tell you something. You're talking about somebody with boots on the ground. Right after the election, she was right here in this community, calming nerves down, talking to the people. We never had a mayor like that. And I am honored to be standing next to her and Tim McCosker. Same way with Tim. Boots on the ground. We don't have to look for these folks. Their team is on deck every single day, talking and working with us to make sure these young men have an opportunity. And we got multiple men and women out here working every single day. The schools is safe. They talked about crime down in our community. We almost 89% crime down in the developments. Every one of our developments, no shootings. Anytime you could have a crime report, we do it every Monday. And they talk about maybe a couple of cars got broke in. That's huge. No shootings, none of that, no kids being shot. We are honored. And Mayor, you don't get enough thanks that you should, because you are dedicated to this work and you've proven that. And we have so many people in the community that's very excited for your team, Ms. Lane and all y'all, Tim Watkins. This a soldier for us in this community. Him and Reverend's Project stepped up and hired them young men through their organization. Tim been doing this for years. We get guys that come out of prison, Tim hire them and put them to work. So I'm honored to be around you. Myself, I love you, brother. You mean a lot to us, man, really, and you know that. And so we are honored today, and Mayor Bass and Tim McCosker, keep the boots on the ground like y'all continue to do. And this is what's making us strong. This is why you getting the numbers. And when you talk about law enforcement, the relationship that we have when it comes to building that relationship is huge. No other city has it. So we all should be proud of this crime that's going down throughout all of Watts. Twin and all these guys, man, all us, we love each other. And Mel, we happy that you came aboard to be a part of this team. We worked with Mel for over 30-something years out there in the community, so we're excited. And so I'm going to turn it back over to you guys. Let's give it up for a crime that's down in our community. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm with Soledad Enrichment Action, and we've been a partner with the GRID office and the mayor's office since 2009, since the office inception. For 15 years, SEA has provided GRID intervention and prevention services within the city of Los Angeles. Program participants receive mentorship, educational support, and job readiness training, all aimed at keeping youth out of the criminal justice system and on a positive path towards their futures. Two communities that I'd like to highlight that we work with are the Boyle Heights and Watts communities. These two communities historically have been challenged by violence and limited resources. Our efforts focus on healing, empowering, and strengthening these communities one person at a time. In Boyle Heights, we have coordinated a creative programming such as Camp Tagger, which is a trauma-informed program that allowed 45 youth ages 14 to 25 who were actively involved in gangs and or tagging crews from different communities to participate in a 3-day peaceful camp trip. In Watts, our teams work with each individual housing development to support intentional youth development, programming, case management, and support during summer night light activities. These teams provide and support schools and ensure safe passage. Of course, this work could not be made possible without our team on the ground and the unwavering support from Mayor Bass and the GRID office. Of course, from Councilman Tim McCosker, our partners in law enforcement, LAPD and CSP, and of course the many community partners that we have here, our CBOs, and of course, as always, our community. Thank you.